Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Namdi, aka Nam Diesel. I'd like to welcome you all to the Money Room. This is season 1, episode 1, the premiere. With me here, I have, Tooks, the entrepreneur. He can introduce himself, tell you about himself. He has, a long resume.
All right, what's going on, guys? This is going to be a lot of fun. So welcome to the Money Room. We're going to have conversations about money. We're going to have conversations about anything related to money, building wealth, setting our lifestyle up for yourself, financial freedom. So we're going to be talking a lot of stuff about that. It's the first episode, so bear along with us. Bear with us as we get a grasp of this thing, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I can guarantee you that, because this is
Yep.
conversational, and we want you to participate. You want to use the comment box below. By the way, please help us if you like what we're talking about. Like, share, comment, all that. Yeah, all that. Yep. Yeah. So you got our topics for the day, right?
Yeah, so we have a topics for the day. We're going to discuss in a second, and just to expand a little bit. This is the Money Room YouTube channel, so you can hear us talk. There are others who are also in the Money Room, where this all originated from. Once in a while, we'll be making some guest appearances. To put everyone has their own opinions or on different stuff. So we're gonna have all those conversations here. Like Took said, it's gonna be lit. We're gonna be having fun here, discussing getting money. Discussing different ways to make more money. Get rich, build wealth.
Yeah.
So today's topic
legally.
Just don't get caught. Don't get caught.
Yeah.
So anyway, today Tooks and I we're going to talk about something that we actually spoke about in person. So this is like a topic that's been thrown around there a couple of times by different people, and we're going to talk about renting versus owning. Everybody knows the American dream is, hey, buy your house, you have the white picket fence, you live that lifestyle, you own your house, and you feel happy ever after. And there's also been a new school of thought that's been coming up, which Tooks supports. I disagree. And that says, hey, don't buy your home. The American dream is all a hoax. Don't buy your house, rent your house. And, so that's what we're going to talk about here. Buying your house versus renting your house. What do you think?
So not exactly. I mean, I'm not exactly supporting not buying a home. But it's a little bit of a different take, though, to the quote-unquote American dream thing. Everybody thinks buying a home is always better than renting, and that's not the case. That's not the case. If that was the case, the bank would not be scrutinizing people to make sure that they can afford the property. They're just going to be like, hey, you're buying a home, it doesn't matter, everything is fine, just buy. Right?
I disagree because that happened before. Once upon a time that happened, and
right.
We all know what that led to. 2008, banks were giving houses to everybody, whether they qualified or not. You've seen the Big Short. If you've seen the Big Short, it's a really good movie. By the way, but banks will do that at a point, but that failed. So we all know that that's not the best.
So you're saying that's not a good thing, right?
To give it to everybody, you have to make sure you build yourself up to a certain level.
That's what I was saying.
No, that's not what you were saying.
Let me try to repeat myself. I said if it was that simple, like buying a home is always better than renting, then the bank would just say buy, right? They would not be scrutinizing people if it was that simple. There's a lot more to it than. It's not straightforward. Hey, buying a home is always better. It's not always the case. That's my point. It depends on the individual, and it depends on your particular financial situation. I think that, especially like when you talk about subprime loans and things like that, there's a lot of people that are not qualified to be looking at property both mentally and financially that they were given properties to, and I'm not going to blame the recession on that. Recession has to happen, but that's part of the reason that built up that bubble that busted in 2008.
Right, but I agree. There are many variables. You talk about the market, you talk about the individual. Because they afford the home. Are they at a point in their life where they're stable enough? They have a stable job. There are many factors that come into the play when discussing when you want to buy a house or rent a house.
But we could get into a little bit more details as far as it's your home and asset.
I'm specifically trying to talk about. You have two people in very similar situations, right? So we could come up like different. Let's say $50,000 a year. I think that's the average income in America, right?
Is it?
I think so. I think that's what it is. I think that's the average in America.
All right.
Well, Don't quote me on that, but I think it's right around that ballpark.
Okay, all
So
right, all right.
you have two guys. You have guy A here, you have guy B here, and both of them making $50,000 a year, right? Both of them, for example, have $25,000 saved up because they've been working for a couple. But all things being equal, now should this guy go ahead and buy a house, or should he rent a house? That's the conversation I'm trying to have. So, as far as what's the best route to go, especially because there's that new school of thought. And you know who exactly I'm talking about.
Right.
You can say his name if you want to, but he's one
No,
of
no,
those.
he's Grant Cardone. His name is Grant
Yeah.
Cardone. You go check him out there. But he's pretty much don't buy. I forgot exactly how he said it. Buying a home is stupid. Period. See, I didn't exactly subscribe to that, but close.
Okay.
Okay.
He said don't buy the home you live in. He's saying rent the home you live in.
Right.
Don't buy the home you live in, rent the home you live in. And I disagree with that because I feel there's so many advantages you also get from owning the home that you live in as well.
Right.
I do see the point. Sorry, if you're moving around a lot, say you're moving around a lot, you're traveling. Like him, for example, he's a billionaire by now or something. He has many properties, so he goes all over the place. Investing in different markets throughout the United States. So it makes sense. It kind of makes sense, maybe a little bit in his case because he's moving around so much. He doesn't.
But that's the least. Property. That's the least. So, sorry to cut you off. That's the least of the issues, though. Okay, the main issue here is this for me. Okay, for me personally. Okay.
Okay.
I don't all the way subscribe to what he said that you can't buy is stupid. No. I'm not thinking that. I think you can buy for your sentimental reasons. If you love the home, which is what most people do anyway, and you want to fall in love and buy a home.
No.
By all means, knock yourself out. By the way, I sell homes, so I can't really stand in the position and say people can't buy homes. What I'm saying is this, okay?
Let's talk about money because we're in the money room. Forget about sentimental. Let's talk about wealth-wise.
Right.
Wealth-wise. What's financial?
So financially speaking, the home you live in is not going to build wealth for you. Let's just be frank with that. It's not building.
I disagree.
The home you live in.
Say your point.
Let me finish my point. The home you live in is not going to build wealth for you because you know what? Either you live in a home or you rent. This is an expense anyways. It's called housing expense. And you're gonna have that expense regardless, okay? So it doesn't matter if you live in it now. You could say you could save a few dollars here and there on your taxes here and there. Yes, you can. But that's not where wealth comes from either. Number one key to wealth, in my opinion, is income. Okay, cash flow, income, cash flow. If you don't have income, cash flow, no matter what kind of taxes you're trying to pull out of here and there, you're not going to build wealth. Now, once you have income that's cash flow, then you can worry about leverage and building that. All right, you can build that with leverage. But sometimes in life, I was just looking at a quote from Gary Vee today. Actually, my brother Shola posted it that it's always going to take longer than you think. So if you put this money in something, maybe Bitcoin or something like that, you think that's how you're going to build wealth? Well, guess what? Something's going to happen. Some kind of hiccup is going to happen, and you're going to need your income to bounce back on it to keep you moving. And that's my take on buying home. So it's really, for me, it's a matter of comparison between your home is not an asset in most cases. It's just not, okay? It's a liability in most cases because it takes money out of your pocket, and it doesn't put money in your pocket. If you do the math, okay, you do the math, then the home is not what makes it an asset. It's what it does that makes it an asset. Does it put money in your pocket?
Now, let me answer all your different. Let me answer that. All right. So first off, as far as cash flow is good. Is I agree with cash flow. Cash flow is necessary to build wealth, and you need to have income. That's for sure. But the other thing you're missing there is not just in building wealth. You don't just need cash flow. You need to own. You need to own. That's an essential part about.
I mean, we could debate on if you really own or not.
You need to. I'll tell you exactly why. And the point is, you're using this as a vehicle. Whether you take a mortgage or you buy cash, you use this as a vehicle to own. The end goal is to own, right? So now let's talk about that a little bit more. When you rent a house, let's look at it, for example, I see it as a black hole. All you're doing is taking money every month. You give it to the landlord. You give it to the landlord, and he's getting rich. And you just there giving money to everybody.
By the way, your landlord is not necessarily getting rich.
I'm a landlord, so I can speak as a landlord, right?
Well, you're a landlord, but not all landlord gets rich, and we can talk about that too.
Yeah, and I can tell you as a landlord, no landlord is ever going to rent a home for below what he's paying in his mortgage or he's paying his expenses. They're always going to mark it up, just like any products. Like going something to the store, I think Apple is going to sell us an Apple I don't talk about Apple. I'm a Samsung guy. Once I think Android is going to sell you Android at half the price. They're going to always mark it up. So every business, you always want to mark it up. There's always going to be a profit on top that he's going to take in his pocket. Taking a risk, yes. So that's just one thing. The second thing is when it comes to buying a home, right? I'm going to dissect this. When it comes to buying a home, you lock in a price, right? You lock in a price. So I say, okay, I lock in a 3%, whatever, mortgage, 30 years. I know for the rest of this, as long as I like that place, that location, but no, for the next 30 years, this price, I've locked it in. It's not moving. If you're paying rent, though, you don't know. The landlord like, oh, wow, look at that Whole Foods they built next door. I want to jack the rent up because, this place is being gentrified or whatever. They're going to start increasing the rent, right? The landlord might increase the rent. So that's a variable that you cannot control. It's outside your control. But when you own a house, you lock that in. That's one advantage. Now, another advantage is when you put this money in. I understand that it's unlike it's not cash flow per se, but you're slowly building wealth. Say 15 years down the line, you're building equity. You're building equity into this asset. So now this asset is actually cash. You might not be able to use the cash all the time, but it's exactly cash you could tap into. And the ways you could do that is cash out refinance. There are all kind of different vehicles you could use to access the cash you're built into your home. It's almost like it's forcing you to save because every month you put away payments, and these payments are building your equity. So you kind of like, put the money in a bank account that you can always tap into later on if you ever need to. So there are many, many variables and many advantages I see in owning a home versus, throwing into a wrench. They call it a black hole. That's a black hole.
All right. So here's the thing. Okay. First of all, whatever you think you're locking in, nothing is locked in. It's an illusion.
It is. It is.
It's an illusion in my opinion. Here's why, okay? There's a lot of people that are locked in equity that thought they were locked into some equity, but when 2008 and 9 came.
No. Right? I'm not talking about equity. I'm not talking about, just to be clear. I'm not talking about
okay. You're talking about your expenses.
Your monthly expense is fixed.
Okay.
So think about it. Think about what the rent is going to be in the year 2050 versus right now. Right? The years, as inflation comes, all that stuff, that's just going to go way into the sky, right?
Right.
Rent on an apartment that costs $1,000 a month right now in the year that we live in, 30 years from now, that same apartment could easily be $4,000 a month, realistically. And that's not. I'm not even being funny. That's
here's my question.
Now, if you have a mortgage, if you have a mortgage on that same house, you locked it in. You're locked in, and it's not moving.
Okay, who's going into a house? When you go into a house to buy a house, are you going there planning to live there for 30 years? Do you?
It depends.
Who do that?
It depends.
Okay, so that could be coming from, because I don't go into a place planning I'm going to live for 30 years. So it could be personal when I talk like that sometimes, but I don't go into a place planning I'm going to live there for 30 years. But personally, I don't want to stay in one place for more than 5 years at most,
Okay. And just to use that too, and that's totally fine. And that's now we're bringing strategies. If you want to move every 5 years, so now that's why I agree with what that guy says, whatever his name is. But the thing is, it's also strategies. Just because you're buying a house doesn't have to buy a house at a bad price. It could be smart. You could buy in and lock equity. You have to buy in at a discount. You don't go and say, oh, that house costs like $500,000. I'm going to go buy it for $600,000. I'm going to buy it for the same price.
No, you're buying retail, and when you buy retail, most times that's buying high when you're buying retail price.
What I'm trying to say is, you have to tell people, hey, instead of telling people don't buy place you live in, rent, you say buy smart. So instead of buy at a discount, there's always good deals on the market. You do real estate, there's always good deals on the market. If you look
but an average person is not looking for good deals. An average person buying retail is not buying good deals. They're buying a home that they will fall in love with. In other words, the numbers is not a concern. We're buying a home we're going to fall in love as long as the bank allows us to buy it, to get the money for it.
Well, right now we're talking to the average people. We're talking most people here are average people, and we're trying to educate this average people, right? True. And in the front of this education for this average people that we're speaking to, I like to tell you guys, when you buy your first home, unless it's what people call their forever home, there is, a very high chance, 80% chance you're going to end up moving and buy another home at some point in your life. So when you buy that house, you might not necessarily be buying it for 30 years, or you could buy a good deal. You could buy it at a good location, buy it at a good spot, so that when you want to go buy your next house, you have equity in there. You can either sell it or pull some of that equity out and buy another house, And just for me as an example, my first house, I bought a multifamily. That's how I advise everyone to do it. You could buy a good house that you like and lock equity in. You could buy a multifamily. I locked in a good rate, have tenants, boom, boom, boom. They pay most of my mortgage. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it goes.
And that's good, And what I was going to say is that when you say pull out equity, when you say people buy property and pull out equity, I think it's absolutely possible, and I think it's doable, and I think people do it. You're an example, you're evidence of that. But I also think for most people, it sounds very good, and it's just theory for most people. Okay,
So
it's theory.
most people don't know about it. That's the problem. A lot of people are never educated to know the stuff. They just, all this, as you said, American dream. They see the beautiful white fence. They want to go buy a house that they love, which is fine. But they need to
I think this topic will never end. Okay, but let me just say my own like conclusion on the whole idea of buying homes. Okay,
Go ahead.
last saying on this for this episode. Okay, I think the house you live in, the home you live in, either you own it or not, is a liability. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. That's it. Now, make sure you love it. Make sure you buy something you love. Make sure that if you lived in it for 30 years, that you're absolutely fine with that, okay? So don't buy it because somebody say, hey, just buy it, you're going to move in 2 years. Don't do that. Buy something you love. Buy something that you know that if in case you couldn't move in 2 years, that you'll be okay with yourself living in it, okay? If you want to build wealth with real estate, it goes beyond the property that you live in, okay? Unless you are living in a 20 units. But if you're living in this 1 or 2 family house, that's not going to build you wealth. First of all, if we talk leverage, you're spread thin between 2 tenants that are going to be pain in the butt for you anyway. And things are going to happen, and you're going to wish you don't live in the same building with your tenants. You're going to wish that you have your supers handling all this kind of stuff. That's what I said earlier about there's a difference between landlord and investors, right? If you invest and you have a fleet of properties out there and you have supers worrying about the human beings for you, and then you're just making sure that the money makes sense, then you're an investor. Most landlords don't make money. In fact, some of my biggest prospects when it comes to flipping homes are landlords that are tired of being landlords because they've been counting all this money. Maybe they have this $200 cash flow every month, and at the end of the situation, they're like, oh man, like the $200 they end up spending $200 plus another $300 on the toilet that broke last month, and then somebody has to call them in the middle of the night to come and answer to broken toilets and things like that. That's being a landlord, and that's not the direction to wealth. The direction to wealth, you and I have this conversation, you need situations that's leveraged, and you need, because you will spread too thin. That's why I always tell people, like, if you're going to do it, if you can do it, start from 20 units. If you can't, just have that goal of stepping up to that place where you're going to be 20 units. The property you live in, the house that, sorry about that, the roof, you see, I'm passionate about this. The roof over your head is a liability. I don't care if you own it or not. It's a liability because it takes money out of your pocket. That's what you call a liability. When something, regardless of real estate or a car or not, if it takes money out of your pocket, as a matter of fact, some people's cars are more of an asset than their home because at least they drive that car to work and it's putting money in their pocket. And now that kicks against conventional knowledge. I get it. But just think about what I'm saying, okay?
Okay, now let me respond to that.
All right.
My conclusion, I want to say I totally disagree. I agree with you to an extent when it comes to a single family house, which also people when they buy the first house, buy a multifamily. And that's why I totally disagree with you on that second phase. Because now before I got into the difference between a landlord and investor, right? A landlord is an investor. Some landlords are poor investors and also good investors. So if a landlord is not managing his stuff well, he might be in a bad situation. Similar investor doesn't manage his stuff well, myself in a bad situation, right? Most of the millionaires in this country have been built on real estate, and most of them own multiple, a vast portfolio of,
right.
They might not call themselves
not on being a landlord.
No, they might, real estate. No, but they might not call themselves landlords, but essentially what they are still landlords. They just don't even attend to the day-to-day stuff as far as people calling them or anything.
I guess we're saying the same thing.
But let me move on a little bit beyond that. Mm-hmm. So now, when I bought my first house, my initial goal before I even focus on financial freedom, all that stuff is, okay, I want to buy a house, right? I want to buy this house. I don't want to pay any rent. I don't want to pay anything out of my living expenses as far as paying for this house. And that was my first goal. So like a lot of people, they get a first job, they get a nice apartment, you're spending $1,000, $2,000 a month, whatever on rent. My goal is I want to buy a house, and I want to pay zero when it comes to my living. When it comes to like for my roof over my head, I want to pay zero on that, and that's what I did. So now every other cash flow I got from work, everything else, guess what? That just accumulating for me to invest in my next next thing. So that's I feel is a so when you say a house is not an asset. A house is an asset. You just have to use it that way. So that's how you start building wealth. From there, you buy something else.
What if you're not using it that way? What if you're not using it that way? Like most people, when you buy a house, right? The house is pulling out $3,000 out of your pocket every month for the next 30 years, right? What if?
But guess what? If you have two people renting it that cover all that plus some, then who's in a better situation? So person who say two people will go to work, right?
Right.
Say they make $2,000 a month, example, right? And they pay $1,000 in rent, right? Another person is going to the same job, but instead of paying any rent, they're paying zero rent
Right.
because they've used this cash flow as leverage. So that cash flow coming out of their pocket is coming right back. So
You
they
know,
end up,
another
yeah.
argument that somebody else will make,
You know?
just to support what you're saying right now, is that you're putting that into equity, and I totally get that. Okay, yeah, I totally get that. If you're thinking long term, absolutely fine. I get it. I agree.
Right.
You're putting it into
And
equity.
and also, just I think that's a common misconception. People are like, oh, if you're a landlord, there's gonna be so many problems. You're gonna call it the fixed toilet. Blah, blah, blah. People, it's I could call you and say they need help, but as a landlord, you have a network. You're gonna have people. I have people who
Mhm.
text me and stuff, and I just tell my guy, hey, go out there and go fix this. I don't have to leave my house. They
No,
go
no,
take care of that.
you're taking me out of context. We're saying the same thing. Okay.
No, yeah,
If you are a landlord who understand leverage, you understand leverage, you understand using
mm-hmm.
resources that at your disposal, you understand that you shouldn't be the one going to fix broken toilet at night, because that's not what you make money for. That's minimum wage job, right? If you understand that, they were on the same page in regards to that. Now, you could start having to do these things by yourself. Sometimes you start
Exactly. I
that
agree
way.
with that. Exactly. Yeah.
But you should have a goal to at least know that that's not where you're going to build wealth. That's just a stepping stone. Because if you do that on 10 houses, you're going to get burnt out. 10 houses is $200 cash flow each.
Yeah,
And
I agree with that.
I keep saying that. That's 10 houses, $200 cash flow. That means $2,000 cash flow. That's really bad. You're going to look at it, you're going to get burnt out, and you're going to be like, this is not worth it. And that's why we have so many landlords looking to get rid of their property. So that's why it was just my way of saying it.
No,
Like,
no, I understand that.
landlords and investors,
I'm just trying to give people my own personal experience, because
Right.
I know there are a lot of misconceptions. People like, oh,
Right.
landlord, like you're gonna get closer, but it's not true. I've been doing it.
So I
and
guess it's a good takeaway that
and
it's doable with the right professionals, with the right knowledge.
right,
It's
right.
absolutely doable.
So don't be too scared. That's what I'm trying to say. People shouldn't be too scared of that stuff,
Right,
'cause,
right. Well, that's why we have something like this,
yeah.
right? So you can
Mm-hmm.
talk to other people that are doing it, so you can have tap into their experience, so you can avoid the mistakes, because you've made mistakes, right? And people
I made a few mistakes myself.
Exactly. They can avoid the mistakes you've made, because people can really, really get burnt out there real bad. Like your credit can get shot for the next 7 years. Are you hearing me? Is it better?
Nah, I can hear you.
Okay. Your credit can get shot for the next 10 years, next 7 years, if you don't have the right people in your circle to help you. So another reason to subscribe to this channel, because we're going to be talking more about that as time goes on, right?
Yeah, for sure. So, we're going to talk a whole bunch of different topics, whether it's credit, wealth building, all kinds of stuff,
Yeah. We have a lot on our plates, and I'm excited. I'm excited about the conversation, and we're just getting started. And I feel like these conversations are probably never. So what we need to probably do, like eventually, one of the things I would definitely suggest we do is probably put together downloadables. People can put together, how do you do landlord? How do you get your first rental property? What's the formula exactly to get your first 8 rental property without having to pull any cash out of your pocket from, starting from the second one? A lot of people probably have to put something down on the first one, but there's absolutely ways that you can roll equities into equities and build out a portfolio that makes sense. So we'll be diving more into that with time. But yeah, money is. Do you think money is important? Do you think? Money is everything?
That's why we're here, but it's not everything.
I mean, we say money room, but do we really mean that money is everything?
No. So it's good that you brought that up. But when we say money room, we're not just talking about money. Because we're talking about money is almost like a metaphor to mean financial freedom, to live how you want to live at your own means. You don't want to be a slave to money. You want to make money a slave. Or for lack of better terms, you don't want to be money's bitch. You want to make money your bitch.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. I agree.
You want to make your bank account your bitch. You don't look at your bank account, So a lot of people trade their time for the money. You go to work, you put in all this time, you get money back. You put in a lot of time, you get money back. You have to take yourself out of the worker mindset, and it's not, unless you're passionate about what you do, that's fine. Do what you do, but you got to take yourself out of the worker mindset and put yourself into the investor mindset. The business owner mindset. But better still is the investor mindset. When you get to a point where you're leveraging, so you're not exchanging time for money. Your money's working for you. Your money doesn't get tired. Those are your souls working out there, and they bring you more money back. So at that point,
Well,
just
if you
spend
don't
time
have
with
the
your
right
family.
knowledge, your money can
You
get
know,
tired.
if you don't have the right knowledge, you can lose your money. But
You could lose your money too.
yeah, but you have, well, at the end of the day, we have bigger goals beyond money. This is just like it's a tool, a means to an end. You have family, you have friends. You want to experience life, essentially you kind of want to just get the money thing and get that solved, quote unquote, so you could actually live life the way you want to live on your own terms. Because think about it, if you have cash flow coming in every day, you didn't need to work, what would you be doing with your life? That's what you need to ask yourself. If I did not need to work right now, I had so much money coming in, what I'd be doing in my life? That's what you want to focus on. But how can you get that done when you have all this, bill, you think about all these bills. Once you get that sorted out, you can focus on living life on your own terms. And that's money. And that's what we'll talk about.
So the money room where we turn money to our bitch. That's what this is about.
Exactly. Make money a bitch over here.
Yeah, man. So we got a lot more topics coming up. Bitcoins, franchise, real estate, more details into real estate, wholesaling, flipping, buying a real estate for as a house where you live in. We're going to be diving more into that as time goes on. It's a never-ending topic, honestly. And I think I am a little sensitive when people say American dream. Most people would never leave American dream, but also, like you said, there are people that are rich that they are slaves to money too. So it's about finding the balance between wealth and health, and having from a mental standpoint to physical standpoint. So we're going to be talking about more of that kind of stuff. Now, before we run this out, right? Because this is current, right? Because there's another news that came on the news today about this guy again, Tyrese, right? And he was he was fighting for custody of his daughter, right? And then he finally had a chance to visit, but he did not take advantage of the visit. Now, the main thing I want to talk about there is the money, right? He's claiming that he's broke.
$13K a month, right? Something like that.
What's that?
I think he spent like $13,000 a month. That's what she's.
Yeah, he spent $13,000 a month on child support. So he's claiming he's broke right now after making, what is it, $30 million per movie from Fast and Furious, the franchise, right? Yeah. Is it possible for someone to really go broke from making $30 million? I mean, yes, he's spending $13,000.
It is possible. It is possible. Like, so now there's a difference between having cash flow and just, sometimes you have assets. Some people's assets are not that liquid. So I don't know what his money might be tied up in. But to be told, I don't believe him. I don't believe him. I don't believe him. He's an actor, man. He's an actor.
Right.
He's an actor. But at the same time, just to put things in perspective, it is possible for someone to have $30 million assets, but they don't have the liquid cash at that point to do certain things.
Right. So that's the more reason we got to take money serious, because it's possible to be rich like that and be out of money soon, especially like, for example, I heard he has a Starbucks behind his house.
Yes, he does. He does. Talking about it, I was like, this, right. What the Starbucks money,
Right. All right. So we're going to be talking about a lot of those things, the balance sheet, cash flow, net worth, all that stuff. So I think the first one is fun. What do you think? You think the second one is going to be better?
It's only gonna get better from here, man.
It's only gonna get better. Absolutely. The money room, man. Yeah. What else?
And just in terms of, like, I know we're getting a little bit advanced to talk about, so for the beginners, from the people who are just like total novices here, who don't know what the heck to do with their money, that's why I say, we're gonna talk about different ways to invest, franchises, wholesale, real estate, all that stuff. And that's not too advanced, but that's when you have some money, you want to do something with it, But for people who don't know anything, just when you just kind of started out, you got out of college, you're fresh off the boat, whatever. I will tell everybody, the foundation of everybody in any business whatsoever is a budget. You need a budget. You need to look at how much you're spending every month, how much you have coming in every month. Whether you have to have a projection, like I have an Excel sheet, I'm sure you do too, and have a projection of how much could you have saved by the end of the year. You have different goals, different targets. If you see your account is at a certain level, okay, I might overspend it. You have to have a budget. If you don't have a budget as a foundation, if you have a strong foundation, you could build skyscrapers on top of that, right?
Absolutely.
You could go to the moon. You could build as much. But if your foundation is weak and you don't know how much is coming in, how much is going out, you're going to be inefficient. You are a business yourself. You have to treat yourself like a business, and from there you can now build businesses.
So I call it. Sorry to cut you out. I call it the gap. Grab a pen. If your pen is Excel sheets, please, absolutely. But don't, like, I know that I know way too many people personally that just think about it in their head. I got this $3,000 coming in, and just you gotta use the Excel sheet. You gotta write these things down. You have to
exactly
nail everything down to the penny that's foundational issue when it comes to money. Every
Yeah.
penny counts, and you must account for everything, including how much you're eating, how much you're using to eat for lunch at work and things like that. Everything must be accounted for. If you don't know how to do that, even at the level of $25,000 a year in salary, you're going to have a problem to get to $100,000 a salary. So I'm not even going to say you're going to have a problem with $2 million.
I mean, the people who have like six figures and they're still broke, they're living paycheck to paycheck. And it sounds funny. You see, yeah, they're making six figures, but a lot of it's going out the window. You have to learn how to manage your money properly. So right from your first job, you get out of college, learn how to manage your money properly. So that way you could build yourself more wealth. So when you have more money, you still have that mindset, that discipline of how to manage your money properly and build more wealth from there. Because if you don't know what you're doing, you just have money coming in, it'll be going out very fast. And you're like, where did all that money go? Well, guess what? You're not managing it properly. You have to manage your money, or else you're going, so like, money can run fast. So
yeah, absolutely.
You gotta have a strong infrastructure, So
yes. All right,
that's for the beginners.
Good one, man. Good one. That's absolutely a good one. So that's what we have for this one, right? For this episode.
You wanna go in you're gonna modify this stuff a little bit. So you wanna go on about home versus rent.
Home versus rent?
Yeah.
No, I want to preserve it. I want the other fellas to be here, and I want to hear what they have to take. What we're gonna do is this, okay?
Maybe
in the comments below. Yeah. Oh, like
okay, that's good. That's good. In the comments
below.
Take a vote. Do you think it's better to own or think it's better to rent? Take a vote. Share it on your Facebook page. Share it on whatever you have. Ask this question to your friends and see what they think. But put a comments below. We want to get some feedback. If you have any questions, ask us, and we'll be glad to entertain it at the end of our show. And going forward, we'll probably do like a daily questions. So if you have like 5 good questions from our viewers, we'll answer them, and just keep them coming. We're here to not just entertain you guys, but actually help you guys build wealth. Because
Yeah.
Wealth is
so
health,
what do you
and health
think?
is wealth.
Yeah. So tell us what you think in the comment below. Break it down. You agree with me? You agree with Namdi, or you agree?
You gotta agree with me, man. You gotta agree with me.
I agree with someone. The person with a better smile, of course. All right. So yeah, absolutely. So this is the first one. We're gonna be rolling out even series, right? We talked about parts. Like sometimes we can't finish the conversation, we have to roll out, but you can expect to get an edition every week.
Yes, about every week. You're going to hear from us. We're going to have our opinions out there, and our opinions are not just opinions. We have stuff to back what we're saying. So whether you agree with my school of thought or you agree with his school of thought, we both know what we're talking about to a certain extent. We're here to entertain you guys, but also educate you guys to build wealth. So come back, learn more. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Share our video on Facebook or whatever social media you have. We'll answer your questions, going forward. So if you have any good questions, we'll pick maybe 5 or 3 of them. We'll answer them at the end of our show, give you feedback. So we hope to hear from you guys too.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. The other thing I was going to say is click subscribe, and there's a bell right next to the subscribe. Make sure you click that so you get notification as well too for every time we release a video. All right. Thank you so much. See you guys on the next one. Peace.
All right, guys.